Getting in breaking news now that Supreme Court has allowed the Election Commission of India to decide on who gets the symbol. Whether it's Uddhav or Eknath Shinde, who will get the symbol? Uddhav Thackeray went to the Supreme Court to ensure that the Election Commission couldn't have a say, but he hasn't got his way. It appears that this is a blow to Uddhav Thackeray. Alisha, he was wary of going to the Election Commission, and the Election Commission, it appears, will continue to decide. Supreme Court said only Election Commission can decide.
Well, yes, Niranjan, this was an interim application that was filed by Uddhav Thackeray camp, and right after when Eknath Shinde went to the Election Commission of India clearly claiming that the party is the original Shiv Sena. But hearing in a Supreme Court where it was a day-long hearing, importantly if I read out the judgment that has been made by the court, which clearly mentioned that we direct that there would be no stay of the proceeding before the ECI. Accordingly, the IA, that is interim application, is disposed of. So the Supreme Court Constitution Bench refused to stop the Election Commission of India from deciding the claim of Eknath Shinde group as a real Shiv Sena. It has also dismissed the petition that has been filed by Uddhav Thackeray. So this indeed a major jolt to Uddhav Thackeray, who was actually claiming that that is his original Shiv Sena is of Uddhav Thackeray, but that was a petition, an application that was given by Eknath Shinde itself. When he was in Delhi, he went to Election Commission of India and clearly mentioned that the 40 MLAs who are with him are the real Shiv Sena, and his party, his faction should be considered as a real Shiv Sena. And which is when Uddhav Thackeray camp went to the Supreme Court clearly mentioning that the Election Commission of India should not decide till the time the disqualification application that has been filed before the Supreme Court should be decided. But now on the application that has been filed by Uddhav Thackeray over the Election Commission, whether Election Commission can decide or not, where the Supreme Court has clearly given a verdict mentioning that there will be no stay over the decision of Election Commission of India to decide whether Eknath Shinde is a real Shiv Sena or not. Also, the petition that was filed by Uddhav Thackeray camp has been dismissed by the Supreme Court.
Yes. And where does the matter stand right now? Where does the matter stand right now, Alisha? Where does it stand in the Election Commission of India? Who's got the edge as the fight now continues to proceed in the ECI?
Well, Niranjan, as far as ECI proceeding is concerned, because we know that the time Eknath Shinde given an application clearly stating that Election Commission of India should consider Eknath Shinde camp as the real Shiv Sena, and the symbol for the forthcoming election should be given to Eknath Shinde. So there went a fight that has come forward where Uddhav Thackeray has clearly asked the Supreme Court, has requested the Supreme Court to not, Election Commission should not decide over the symbol until and unless the petition gets over. Because there was a time where Election Commission, after the request that was given, the application that was given by Eknath Shinde, has also called for a hearing. The hearing where both the parties, that is from both the faction, that is an Eknath Shinde faction and as well as Uddhav Thackeray faction, will be called in before the Election Commission, and they will be allowed to submit the documents and as well as the MLAs and all the list of whether the signatories of the corporators or whether the other parties, to show who is the real Shiv Sena and with whom the symbol will go. Now the Supreme Court has clearly given some heads up to Election Commission of India. So there comes the proceeding will start. Election Commission will call both the faction, that is from the Uddhav Thackeray faction as well as Eknath Shinde faction, and they will be asked to put forward their proceedings, and importantly whether both are claiming that they are real Shiv Sena, but who is and where the symbol will go to, whether it will be Eknath Shinde, because at this point of time, and this is where even Uddhav Thackeray was really rely upon the Supreme Court, because it's a major jolt as we've been talking about, because if Election Commission really considered the numbers of corporators, because we know that there are a number of corporators who has already extended their support to Eknath Shinde. Moreover, there are district Shiv Sena chief who has also extended the support to Eknath Shinde, and more importantly, there are MLAs and MP in numbers. The letter that has already been given to ECI clearly mentioning that we have the number in MLAs, we have the number in MP. So that that is when the Eknath Shinde faction should be considered as the real Shiv Sena and the symbol should go to him. So if this really been accepted by the ECI, so what next with Uddhav Thackeray is something a matter of question and will be looked upon, because now when we have been thinking that it could be a meeting that could be called by Uddhav Thackeray, because it is something that was not expected even from the camp, and they have been trying very hard to fight before the Supreme Court. But when it comes to the ECI, now the decision has been given to the ECI. Now ECI will call both the parties to put all their matters before the ECI, and whether it is the MLAs which stands whether with Eknath Shinde or Uddhav Thackeray.